Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video today, we're going to talk about a prediction which is made by an investment bank. It says that next 3 months is going to be a very important month for cryptocurrencies. He's talking about a possible bull run. We're also going to talk about the recent controversy from most of the people into cryptocurrency space and also in the traditional space that Bitcoin is not capable of handling the same number of transactions as Visa and Master. Well, as it turns out that Visa and Master does not even have the capability to handle 24,000 transactions per second. In fact, they are a lot lesser than what they claim. And also we're going to talk about some of the criticism from the traditional market saying that Bitcoin is used for the criminal activity, but at the same time there are also opinions that Bitcoin is the only asset or currency which can actually get rid of 164 trillion global debt. So let's start with the coin market. Of course, as you can see, the coin market is really pumping. So right now we are close to 9,000 rupees dollar per Bitcoin, and of course Bitcoin Ethereum teaching about $600. And of course everybody says what is happening is the next bull run. This prediction is actually from an investment banker. So it says that the name of the bank is called Saxo Bank, right? And it talks about that the next 3 months can be, it says, taking into account the several factors. He believes the next 3 months could be the breakout time for the digital assets, holding the potential to trigger a bull market. And the couple of points that he mentioned, which makes a lot of sense, is spoke about the traditional investors coming into the space. So he mentioned that you have, of course, first let us understand what Saxo Bank is. So Saxo Bank is something which deals with the future market. They deal into funds, bonds, CFDs, stocks, and even foreign exchange. So they cater to about more than 100 global companies globally. And if you look at their portfolio, they claim to handle about $12 billion USD daily and having about 180 clients. Of course, will have some kind of sense, and that is why they want to talk about this cryptocurrency bull run, which is predicted in the next 3 months, right? So this is where you can go ahead and check their website out. So it says that the recent updates have been from the Goldman Sachs buying the Poloniex, and then Monex Group buying CoinCheck, and then Yahoo Japan getting 40% stake in the Bitcoin. So there's clearly some of the companies like Coinbase has attracted talent from Silicon Valley. So clearly all the traditional players are getting into the space right now. So this would be one of the reason of the possible bull run. Again, everything covered here, just my personal opinion and not a financial advice. So this is the guy who has predicted here. I just want to be quick and not really take a lot of time reading this. So it says that assets that lie outside the reach of the traditional financial system in which cryptocurrencies are potential alternative. So possibly, if it is coming out from a Saxo Bank, which has been into the market for a very long time, they have been dealing into billions of trade, possible that we are heading towards a bull run. But what do you think? Do you think we are heading towards the next bull run in the next 3 months? We're also going to talk about, so this is been a common debate, topic of the debate, that Bitcoin cannot be as useful as Visa because they take about 24,000 transactions per second. As it turns out that they actually do not take 24,000 transactions per second. So I think that the maximum that they take is about 1,700 transactions per second only. So only that figure is not entirely accurate. In fact, it's not even remotely accurate. In reality, Visa only processes about 1,700 transactions per second. And the way that we can still reach there is with the help of the Lightning Network. There are sharding which is taking place on Ethereum, and so there are many more other alternatives which can easily reach about 1,700 transactions. In fact, even more with the Lightning Network. So Bitcoin can very well be the electronic cash system that everybody has thinking of, right? Replacing Visa and Master. So this also talks about a couple of other cryptocurrencies which always claims that way we are faster than the block Bitcoin because we are offering millions of transactions per second, something like credit. and other blockchains. Well, the problem is that they are solving this problem at the cost of the centralization. They are not as decentralized as Bitcoin. To produce one single Bitcoin, there's a cost attached, maybe $2,000 or $5,000. But most of this cryptocurrency in blockchain run something called proof of stake. So there's not much of an expense happening in terms of verifying the transaction, and also they are lesser decentralized than what Bitcoin is. So for example, they have given one example which says Hashgraph is also meant to be fast, but it comes with the threat to be to show anyone who tries to fork it, and any blockchain that can be sued is not a decentralized network. Imagine if Bitcoin was centralized and could have been attacked, Bitcoin would have been attacked a long time back. So obviously it has also mentions of EOS and NEO, but it mentions that most of these blockchains are solving this problem of low speed at the cost of centralization, which defeats the whole point. The reason why Visa is able to do about 1700 transactions per second, because they are centralized. So there was this interesting tweet that from Yuzin Chua. It says very often blockchains that claim superiority in terms of transactions per second over Bitcoin or Ethereum are taking the easy way out by setting a lower block time and higher block size. Some even go to the extent of centralizing the authoritative nodes to avoid fork. So of course we definitely don't want the high-speed transaction at the cost of centralization, because then it's nothing better than the Visa and the MasterCard. Let's talk about some interesting fact, guys. So there have been a lot of debate on, well, Bitcoin is used for the criminal activities, right? So as you can see, the report says only less than 1% of Bitcoin is used for illegal purposes. Now, I think most people still don't use it, because somehow they have realized that Bitcoin is a public ledger, and there's high possibility they'll be caught if they do something wrong. They try to do something wrong with the Bitcoin network. And the previous examples have been like that. You talk about the Silk Roads, you talk about so many other incidents. Every scamming activities or any illegal activities has been caught over the Bitcoin network. But what really it solves a problem, which most people try to ignore, is it really solves a problem of $164 billion global debt, right? Why? Because there has been so much of money which is being printed by the authorities and the banks, and most of these governments have been bailing out these banks. And the recent example was, of course, from India, which was PNB Bank, and then of course you had Lehman Brothers 2008, which was bailed out, right? Interestingly, I want to bring this to your notice. I'm sure you would know, and in fact this story is so interesting that I want to make a separate video on the entire thing. So as you know, the Bitcoin works on the blockchain, it works on the hash functions. So the previous block is always taken from the last block, right? So what happens in the first block, which is Genesis block for Bitcoin, if you look at that, what is written in the Genesis block is something like this, which was also printed in the newspaper. So the newspaper reads something like this: the Times, 03 Jan 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout bank. So this is what is being fitted in the Genesis block. So clearly in the Genesis block itself, there's a message that the Bitcoin is here to kill the banks, but still most people have disagreed to it, or most people find it a coincidence, but it turns out it's not a coincidence, it's quite well planned. So very interesting. I'll make a separate video on this topic later on, but if you like the content, hit the like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video.